Hello and welcome to TVP World. I'm Skaya and you're watching Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news. Another story from the Russian hinterland sounds like a bad screenplay, but unfortunately, it's real. A resident of Krasnodar voluntarily signed up for what the Kremlin still calls its special military operation. He genuinely believed the television promises: eternal glory, a grateful motherland, and the sacred slogan, "We don't abandon our own." The plan was simple: go to war, quickly become a hero, return with medals, respect, and hey, maybe even a new refrigerator. That's the image Russian propaganda sells: a postcard-friendly adventure, a kind of patriotic tourism, only featuring a machine gun. Now, the man was seriously wounded at the front and lost his leg. Now, no parades, no applause, no grateful motherland. Instead, what he got were hospital corridors, bureaucracy, and endless queues for certificates that he had in fact sacrificed his body for the state. Instead of hero status, he got disability papers and a pension that's barely enough to survive on. The main blow, however, was waiting for him at home. After his return, his wife left for the city of Lutsk, wait for it, in Ukraine. The irony of fate is so brutal, it doesn't require a writer. It writes its own satire. And today, this former volunteer lives on social benefits, and there's no job for this particular hero. It turns out that patriotic slogans do not translate into employment contracts.
Жінка збіжала в Луцк.
В Луцк?
Угу.
Она украинка, что ли?
Хохол оказалась. Все время орала, что я, говорит, русская, а сама сбежала.
То есть когда она уехала от тебя, бросила тебя? Когда это случилось?
Ну, как я с фронта вернулся, так и сбежал.
А ты что, на фронте был?
Ну, если тебе вот так что-нибудь говорит, то значит...
Ой-ой-ой, у тебя ноги нету.
А так чуть-чуть.
А протез есть у тебя?
Конечно.
Сделали, да, уже?
Конечно.
Ходишь на работу, все устроился?
Ну, пока на работу еще не хожу.
Russian state media loves to show beautiful stories about courage, about heroism, but much less often, life after war. There is no soundtrack for that, only utility bills and questions like what's next. Now, the very system that actively called men to the front to go to war suddenly becomes strangely quiet when those same men come home. Suddenly it's busy. Forms must be filled, budgets are tight, offices are closed, because recruiting for war is easy. Taking responsibility for its consequences, that's the part propaganda never rehearses. The truth is that this fate could have been avoided. He could have stayed at home, worked, lived a normal life, and not gone to war in Ukraine, not participated in the invasion, not gone to kill Ukrainians, and not occupy foreign territories for the sake of the imperialistic ambitions of his ruler, Vladimir Putin. This story is not just about one volunteer from Krasnodar. It is a story about the clash between television images and reality, about how life mercilessly dismantles the fictional image woven by state propaganda. And perhaps the most important conclusion here is simple. Sometimes the most heroic decision is not to join a war that could have been avoided. Now, while the world discusses the development of artificial intelligence, ethical standards for technology, and the future of digital civilization, Russian television has made its own breakthrough. A participant appeared on the popular show Battle of Psychics who called herself, wait for it, Cyberwitch. And what's her main superpower? Well, it looked quite innovative. A smartphone attached to her head, an earpiece in her ear, and ChatGPT, which prompted answers in real time. Now, according to the participants' plan, artificial intelligence was supposed to replace intuition, clairvoyance, and contact with subtle energies. ChatGPT dictated the answers, and she solemnly repeated them in front of the cameras, creating the effect of a digital oracle.
Эта девушка называет себя киберведьмой и утверждает, что проходить испытания ей помогает искусственный интеллект.
А нужно настоящий имя?
Как тебе удобно?
Екатерина, скажите, пожалуйста, что вы увидели за ширмой?
Скажите, пожалуйста, что
Russian television has long had a weakness for pseudoscience, mystics, fortune tellers, experts who, with equal confidence, explain space travel, geopolitics, and the aura of Western politicians. But now there's a new genre. Call it techno-mysticism. In fact, viewers were invited to watch how a person uses modern technology to imitate supernatural abilities. Because when propaganda runs out of facts, it turns to spectacle. Now, the story of the quote-unquote Cyberwitch may sound funny, but it's also revealing. It demonstrates a strange symbiosis of modern technology and old television formats where the goal isn't truth, it's spectacle. A smartphone taped to someone's head becomes a superpower, a gadget becomes mysticism, and performance becomes expertise. But if a phone on your forehead still can't help you predict the obvious, maybe the problem isn't a lack of magic. Maybe it's an excess of television illusion. When propaganda blends technology with superstition, it's not innovation, it's just a new costume for the same old trick. Russian television is once again demonstrating a unique genre, alternative reality live on air. Now, in his latest show, Vladimir Solovyov solemnly declared that Russia had allegedly acquired more territory than during the Great Patriotic War, that the country's economy was experiencing an unprecedented boom, that the military-industrial complex was operating at an incredible level, and that all this was happening with minimal losses.
То, что они делают, это политика мелкого подогрева воды, чтобы лягушка сварилась, не замечая. Поэтому то, что они делают, они нас истощают. Когда вы говорите «увязло», нет. Мы не увязли, потому что мы приобрели больше территорий, чем во время Великой Отечественной войны, с несравнимо меньшими потерями. Мы избавились от пятой колонны внутри страны. Мы перестроили нашу экономику, разогнав оборонно-промышленный комплекс до уровня, которого не было во время Великой Отечественной войны, параллельно производя переустановку. Поэтому это можно сказать увязли, а можно сказать готовимся и смотрим. Надо исходить из реалий, не бумажных, а те, которые на поле боя. Реалии. А реалии в том, что это новая война. И если кто-то знает, как это сделать по-другому, прошу винтовку и на передовую, заодно покажете. А в другом случае советую уважать труд военачальников, полководцев и мужиков на передовой, которые решают сложнейшие задачи, минимальные потери для народа и для страны. Они своими жизнями, своим потом и кровью обеспечивают условия. А категория «завязли», «не завязли» – это сейчас вдруг у человечества появилось ощущение, что войны должны быть короткими. Никогда в истории человечества войны короткими не были и не будут.
Now, Solovyov also stated that the Russian economy has been successfully restructured and that the military-industrial complex is functioning better than ever. Indeed, factories are working non-stop, but mainly to produce shells, drones, and equipment that are then quickly lost on the front lines. A wartime economy can create the illusion of activity, but it's like a person who rejoices in a high heart rate during a marathon, not noticing that their body is getting exhausted. The most striking part of this speech was the notion of minimal losses. According to various estimates, the number of Russian soldiers killed and seriously wounded is already approaching millions. Daily losses are measured in hundreds and sometimes thousands of people. But in television reality, this is called insignificant costs. Now, the narrative of significant territorial gains and minimal losses demonstrates a key feature of contemporary Russian propaganda. The more complex reality becomes, the more grandiose the statements get. And remember, the only territory that Russian television consistently expands is the realm of fantasy. And that's all for this edition of Break the Fake here on TVP World. I'm Skaya. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you here next time.